Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the stream. I have had a rather busy day, and some of you that have been following Twitter today probably have been monitoring the situation, but I was busy living a real life, doing things off the internet when I was notified that Timmy and his boss did it again. And this went up. Now, it's getting to the point where I'm not surprised that Holmseth does this crap. He seems to think that he is able to write to the authorities and they're just going to get up and say, oh my God, look at what Tim Holmseth discovered. Man, we got to get on this. And is off to the races. Well, there's just a slight problem. This time, Tim Holmseth may have bit off a little more than he could chew. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up something here. Not sure how this is going to work. I had to completely scrap what I was planning on doing today in order to get into this, but Timmy put up one of his videos. Now, there's not going to be any audio here. Stand. Hold still. There's not going to be any audio on this because it's not a YouTube, but it is something that might explain what this nitwit is up to. So let me run this, and I'm gonna follow it. But the headline is Soapy Long calling Texas sheriff alerted to child trafficking cartel. And so we begin. There we go. Story below video. David Lester Street is the world's expert in constitutional law, blah, 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 blah. You can read along with this. And it's, all right, wait on. For some reason, hold on. I did something wrong here. Boop. Oh, I know what I did. All right, let me get rid of this. Doink. All right, now I'll go back. I'm still learning this software. Okay. And we start. And just read, this is mostly written commentary anyway, but he's basically saying that David Strait is this big expert on everything under the sun. And the problem is none of it's true. And anybody that's watched the Vice article knows it's not true. And look at what he got. He's got wolves, vampires, sheepdogs, sheep, so he's talking about wolves and vampires. And, you get into this nonsense of bullshit from David Strait, but let me see if I can speed this up a little bit. But, he's got a little chart there, and, I don't have the audio, so we can't see. But, all right, right here, we switch over to Craig Sawyer's. Yep, they got vampires. Got to have vampires, got to have wolves, and they got to have sheep. Now, he's talking about, well, there is no Save the Children Tennessee Lights. It's the PPTF actually stands for the Pedophile Protection Task Force. Their actual duty is to protect pedophiles. Now, I'm going to draw your attention to something. You might notice this little tiny thing over to the right where I've got my arrow. He wrote this about me, or put this up about me. And so let's hop over to this video real quick. Now, listen, alleged serial killer panics after report made to DPI in Summerwell's case. Now, he changes his story here a little bit. This was put on here. Now, Timmy said he contacted the sheriff. And in this, it's saying that he contacted the Texas Bureau of Investigation. Or is that the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation? I guess it's Tennessee. We're getting a lot of acronyms here. But anyway, so he's contacted the state of Tennessee and named me, Levi Page, Kim Picasio, you always got to get Kim Picasio in there, and other people of this child trafficking fiction. And of course, if you want to read, you go over here, and again, he's calling me an alleged child serial killer from Florida who travels the country to meet with FBI agents under established mission names such as Operation Chaos. Now, this is the funny part. He's accusing me of being a alleged child serial rapist, yet I'm meeting with the FBI to help them solve cases. This is a little ass backwards, but this is Tim now. So, he emails everybody. He's emailed the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation with this particular video. And if we go back to this one, he said that he has contacted the Collin County, Texas Sheriff's Office regarding this trafficking cartel. And so he's come to the defense of Michael Long. Now, no comments. The following, and so if you notice up here, are in R.E. Sophie Long. Now, at no time does a email header appear here. The sheriff's office has an email address. You can write to them. No email address. Did he send this by snail mail? No, because it's September 10th. So he's claiming to have sent them an email. Where is the email address? He's got his email address up at the top, which is not a valid email, by the way, but nothing up here. So we read down through, I am contacting you in regards to the matter involving the high-profile case of Sophie Long and her father, Michael Long. I am contacting you, the county sheriff, specifically because you are the chief law enforcement officer in Collin County, and I see evidence of a very serious and dangerous international racketeering operation occurring in your jurisdiction. Evidence shows Michael Long and his daughter may have innocently stumbled into the activities of an international child trafficking cartel. And he goes on saying he contacted the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation as well as the U.S. Army at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And goes on and on and on and on. And we get down to accusing Craig Sawyer again. And we get down to Bob Hammer, a.k.a. John Regan. Now, there is something interesting here about John Regan that Tim Holmseth keeps forgetting. And that is that John Regan has been dead for over a decade. He died shortly after being in the missing child case in Florida back in 2009, which was missing Haley Cummings. And the guy had the bad luck of being the father of someone closely associated with Kim Picasio. So he automatically becomes this Bob Hammer guy. Well, unfortunately for Tim Holmseth, Bob Hammer is still alive and kicking. He has kids and all this stuff. So, Holmseth is running around accusing a dead man of being an FBI agent, an undercover agent, doing all this stuff, and also trashing a guy that is very much alive and well and quite frankly, is getting fed up with Tim Holmseth, as are a bunch of other people, including law enforcement. Yes, he has Tennessee lights. And, you know, Tim Holmseth, if he was this big investigative reporter, would know that Mr. Regan has been pushing daisies for over a decade. All you got to do is look his name up in Legacy and you will see that the guy is dead. But Timmy insists on dragging this poor guy's name through the mud over this nonsense. Now, here is the thing with this. Tim Holmseth is defending this man. And the problem is this man is somewhere with all right, I'm back. Anyway, you got to look at this guy. Let me start over from the beginning. The Texas Department of Public Safety is the agency that is investigating this case. The Texas Department of Public Safety is the one that has the warrant out for this guy's arrest and is the one that wants this guy in jail. Period. The problem for Mr. Holmseth is there is a law against this sort of thing. And let me bring this screen up and we'll get rid of Mr. Long. But before I do this, Tim is supposed to be this huge investigative reporting. Yet Tim cannot find out who actually is investigating the case. And he sends a letter to this sheriff who, it took me 45 minutes to show the sheriff what the hell Timmy was talking about. I had no idea about Sophie Long because for two reasons. First of all, it's not the county sheriff that's investigating Michael Long. It is the state of Texas. The state Texas Department of Public Safety is the Texas State Police. And their criminal investigation division is investigating this case and are looking for Michael Long. The county sheriff has no idea what's going on. Well, they do now, because I talked to the deputy. The deputy told me that the letter, if it was sent by Mr. Holmseth, would go to their criminal investigation division, and they are now going to look into what the hell is going on. Because if Mr. Holmseth is interfering with the case, he's got a little problem. And that problem, okay, let me do this. I gotta make an adjustment here. Because I'm still learning the software. It's just, I try to do this Okay, and we go boom. All right. This is the penal code set down for offenses against public administration, Chapter 38, obstructing a governmental operation. Some of us call it obstruction of justice. And it goes down here in this chapter, custody means under arrest by a peace officer or under restraint by a public servant pursuant to an order of a court of this state or another state in the United States. And it goes on to explain the situation. Now we're interested in number 5 right here. And this is fugitive from justice, which means a person for whom a valid arrest warrant has been issued. Now, let's get through all these definitions. And it gets into failure to identify and resisting arrest, search, or transportation. And this is where Mr. Long is having a problem. Under Section 38.04, evading arrest or detention, a person commits an offense if he intentionally flees from a person he knows is a peace officer or federal special investigator attempting to lawfully arrest or detain him. This is a Class A misdemeanor. A state jail felony if the actor has previously been convicted under this section, or if the actor uses a vehicle or watercraft while the actor is in flight and the actor has not been previously convicted under this section. Michael Long is driving a motor vehicle, so he is guilty of a felony at that point. Now, this is getting into where Michael Long is. Now, what we get into here is what Tim Holmseth may get arrested for and his companion. This is Section 38.05, hindering apprehension or prosecution. A person commits an offense if, with the intent to hinder the arrest, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of another for an offense, or with intent to hinder the arrest, and it goes on, harbors or conceals the other, provides or aids in providing the other with any means of avoiding arrest, affecting state, warns the other of impending discovery or apprehension. Now, this is not only true of Tim Holmseth, it's true of everybody helping Michael Long, because they are all guilty at this moment of this offense, which under this section is a felony of the 3rd degree if the person who is harbored, concealed, provided with a means of avoiding arrest or affecting escape or warning of discovery or under arrest, charged with or convicted of a felony. Now, these things have a habit of being wordy, but the short of this document is that when I discussed this with the sheriff, they told me that if what I told them is true, Timothy Charles Holmseth is subject to arrest for obstruction of justice. And this would be something that the Texas Department of Public Safety would investigate. Because if Tim Holmseth is putting all these emails up and obstructing an official investigation, then Tim Holmseth is guilty of a felony, because he is diverting resources away from finding this child, away from resolving this case. He's interfering with an investigation. Now, again, Timmy got it wrong, as he always does. You don't contact the county sheriff about this child. Who you contact is the Texas Department of Public Safety Missing Persons Clearinghouse. This is the number that you call. This is who you contact. Now, I ran out of time on this because it was late in the afternoon, but the investigator at the sheriff's department told me I need to contact this agency, and they will be more than happy to talk about this. Because right now, they are trying desperately to find this child. It's been quite a long time since this child vanished. And as Levi Page reported a while back, there is the possibility that a warrant for the arrest of Michael John Long for a felony is out there. I got so messed up with trying to find out who Tim Holmseth contacted that I did not go through with my original plan of contacting the agency to find out if there had been a warrant for his arrest that is a felony. Now, this is going to come from the Department of Public Safety, not from the Sheriff's Department. Timmy assumed that because Michael John Long lived in this county, that they are the ones that are doing the investigations. He was quite wrong. It's the Texas Department of Public Safety, and the reason the Texas Department of Public Safety is investigating this is because it's a state crime. He has committed a crime against the state of Texas, and the state of Texas is the one looking for him, not Collier County. And, so Tim Holmseth is not fooling around with some little county down in the middle of Texas somewhere. He is fooling around with the state of Texas, the state police, and the State Department of Public Safety, and the Criminal Investigations Division of that state. And if they determine that Tim Holmseth is helping John Long in any way, shape, or form evade arrest, keep the unlawful possession of his daughter, then Timothy Charles Holmseth is going to be charged with a felony, and a warrant will be put out for his arrest, and it will be a felony warrant, not some little state misdemeanor warrant from Minnesota where only the state of Minnesota can arrest him. This is a first-degree felony in the state of Texas. He will be arrested. And I have told the sheriff that Tim Holmseth has a habit of showing up and putting up his book in front of buildings, signs, scenes of criminal acts, and so forth. So he says, well, if that guy does that, we're going to have a little chat with him. And right now, the entire county is looking for Tim Holmseth. So if Tim Holmseth shows up at the city limits with his little book, holding it up in the air, or in front of City Hall or the police station, or the family's residence there in that county, he's going to have some talking to do with some guys from the sheriff's department. So, and Texas is not a state to fool around with. These people, they're mean. And so, while you're recording this and come up with another fictitious headline, Randy, just remember that it's not this little rinky-dink county that's going to arrest you. They may detain you and ask you what you're doing in their town, but it is going to be the Texas Department of Public Safety because you are interfering in a fugitive case. And they don't like that. They want this guy. And if they feel that there is somebody out there that's helping this guy evade arrest and they can put their hands on him, you're going to be it. You're the one that's going to be charged with a felony. Be your big, brave investigative reporter, Timmy. Go down there and hold up your little book. Put it right there in front of that sign. Collier County. Welcome to Collier County. Welcome to the county seat. They sure would love to see you hold that little book up. And you may get 3 squares and a cot by the end of the day. Because I can tell you, the investigators in this case are getting tired of outsiders barging into this case and complicating what they are trying to do. All these people are trying to do is get this child back into the state of Texas so this matter can be resolved. They don't care if John Long is right or his wife is right. They want that child back under state control so they can resolve this matter. And writing letters to law enforcement lying about me and other people being suspects in these crimes isn't helping. It's hindering. And what you are doing is you are protecting pedophiles. This is at least the 3rd time I have caught Timmy and Randy protecting pedophiles. And they are not talking about this one guy in California because he's QAnon, because he murdered his children. You don't see one peep out of these people. You don't see Tim Holmseth going down to California and holding his little book up in front of the courthouse down there because it involves QAnon being a factor in the murder of these children. Because this guy fell for all this QAnon crap and he killed his kids. And so record that, Randy. Put that over on Big Shoot. You think you're such a big know-it-all and a former judge. Get on the air down there in this town where this little girl lived and do a live broadcast. Interview the sheriff. You think you're such a big deal, get the sheriff on camera and interview him. Go up to the Texas Department of Public Safety in Austin, Texas, and interview the investigators up there. I dare to do it. You won't do it because you don't want to go to jail. Because you're giving law enforcement false information and you're interfering with this case. Nobody should be interfering with the case. Not anybody that supports Mike Long and not anybody that supports the ex-wife. They need to let the investigators do their job, find this child, get this children into a safe and known situation, and then resolve this custody battle once and for all. Now, Mike Long has had his parental custody revoked, which means he cannot legally have this child with him. And this may cause Mike Long to have the charges against him upgraded to a felony. And if Timothy Charles Holmseth is helping a felon escape justice, then he is going to be charged with that on a felony level. He would already be charged under a felony level anyway, but it's going to be upgraded. There are levels of felonies, and he could be bumped up to a higher felony charge. He could be charged with multiple felonies. So this is a chance that Timothy is taking along with his friend when they get into these situations. He may not get out of this one. or he's going to get emboldened to up the ante and do this in another case. There's no telling where this idiot is going to show up and where this idiot is going to sit there and interfere with another case. He's done it with Summer Wells. Nobody has any idea where this child is. And this moron comes in here, contacts the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, and feeds them a load of crap that they have to stop in their tracks and figure out what the hell this is all about, only to find out that they've been sent down a false trail because this idiot that's out there, who knows where, wants the attention. Now, something funny about when you go through over on their little blog and their BitChute channel, is they are whining because I only get 20 people in here. Right now I got 19 people. But, Mert only has 20 people. Well, if that's the case, that I only get 20 people in this chat, why the hell are you so damn concerned about this channel? This is something I've always wondered. You go over to Timmy's channel and you see, he's got 1,000 people that have viewed his videos, or 2,000 or 3,000, and he's got thousands of people that are subscribed, and yet he's got to bog up his ass for this little 20 channel stream. And it's Michael Long. I don't know what I said. I'm old. I get things backwards. What can I say? But at some point, we're going to hit a tripwire. And these people are going to they'll get attention, all right. They'll get 3 squares and a cot. Because something's going to happen because of these fools getting involved in these cases. And it's going to piss off the wrong investigator. He's going to say, well, we're going to teach this dude a lesson. Let's bring him in and have him prove all these claims he's making. So. Well, they can't leave me alone. It's weird because they don't even, other than I mentioned here and there, they're scared shitless of Kim Picasio. The last thing they want to do is get her riled up because if she gets mad enough, she'll squash him like a little bug. And we're going to find out Monday the price that Phil McConnell paid for getting involved with Tim Holmseth. And so, there's that. But, I try to ignore this guy. I was going to concentrate on Phil McConnell. There's something else that I'm going to be concentrating on tomorrow. But there's a loose connection with Tim on that. Maybe not so loose, but there's a connection. But my software's acting up, so I just gotta. Well, I can neither confirm nor deny that. There's a lot of things going on that I can't talk about. That Timmy and company would be very constipated if they knew half of what was going on in the real world. It's torn the season. Well, they're obsessed with me, but I don't know why they're obsessed with me. Okay, no comment from the peanut gallery for 7 hours. So she's probably over here with a little recorder going. Apparently, they're pointing a video camera at the TV because their sound was crap. They don't know how to extract audio from a recording, which is fine and dandy. He most certainly did not get rid of that tracking device. He wouldn't know what he wouldn't know what it looks like, and he wouldn't know where to find it. Law enforcement is good at these things. He doesn't realize that GPS trackers are incredibly small and easy to find and easy to hide. And so he's not as free as he thinks he is. This is just like, they're waiting and watching. They have a plan for him. Gino, thank you for Gina. Sorry, thank you for coming in. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I will be in court Monday, texting live during the hearing. So you're going to know every second that happens in that courtroom on Monday. But it boggles the mind that these two idiots spend all this time and all this effort creating this nonsense. The amount of work that they're putting in to making these videos, spending the time to hunt down sources of material to create the fictitious versions of it, writing letters that they say that they are sending to law enforcement, whether they actually are or not. When I call various agencies and say, no, we haven't heard a damn thing from them. And the only thing that might have happened is that they sent it to a tip line. And all the tip line's going to do, they're going to take one look at that letter and say, this guy's full of crap, and they're going to throw it out. Because he puts his biography in there that he's third in line to the president of the United States and all this, and they're going to recognize it as a moron, as some fantasy idiot, the village idiot, and they're going to say, it's a dead lead. And they can make one phone call to Washington and find out that the guy's full of crap. They call up the Pentagon, but they're going to say, we never heard of this guy. And we have no idea what the PPTF is. It's nothing to do with us. And Donald Trump is too busy playing golf to care about Tim Holmseth. He never heard of him either. Nobody in the Trump administration has heard of Tim Holmseth. Nobody. And, he says, oh, well, there's Lynn Wood, this, that, and the other thing. Well, Lynn Wood, once he found out that he'd been duped, backed out of it. Timmy doesn't put that up. He puts up that old, Lynn Wood or some assistant that runs the website put up this thing about Tim Holmseth, and it turned out to be an accident. It wasn't vetted. And he apologized to Craig Sawyer, recognizes Craig Sawyer, believes in Craig Sawyer. But Tim leaves that out. He doesn't want people to understand that Lynn Wood and Craig Sawyer are allies. And so is Mr. Hammer, because Mr. Hammer is part of the organization. And then you loop around to this business that Tim Holmseth is trashing, gaslighting a dead guy. John Regan is dead. He's been dead for over a decade, and Tim won't leave the guy alone. And he's, Levi already knows. Levi follows all this stuff, so he knows what's going on. And I would not be surprised though. Levi goes on the air sometime in the next couple of days with more stuff. But, I really hadn't planned on being on the air tonight. And I'm working on something else that I'm going to try and talk about tomorrow, along with preparing for my trip to Fort Lauderdale. And so I'll be getting into that tomorrow night. And the subject that I'm going to start on tomorrow night is extremely complicated. I don't know how much of it I'm going to be able to get into. I may do a preliminary discussion of it. There's a possibility that I'm going to have a guest on the air to give their insight as to what I'm going to be talking about. So I will get into that sometime tomorrow while I'm preparing for this trip and other things that I normally do on the weekend. So it's, I'm a busy little guy. And, Timmy and Randy and Kirk and all them can churn out their nonsense. But, the rubber's going to meet the road on Monday, and we're going to find out what's going on. So, but oh my God, a new world's record. I'm 23 people now. That'll really upset Randy that I've gone past the 20 people barrier. And one of them is probably her, and the other one's probably Timmy. And it just keeps going up. Welcome, all you people. It's weird that I have to talk about this nonsense. But it's a guy goes around and brags that he is third in line to the president of the United States. He's the media spokesperson for the PPTF, blah, 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 blah. And yet he's living out of a car. And he's dependent on people for money. He can't get a job. He can't do anything on his own. Thank you. Actually, Levi's the better YouTuber. He is actually a professional webcaster. He has the education, the background, and the experience, and he certainly has more people. So Levi is the king of the hill, so to speak, in this part of the world. That's hard to say about whether or not I feel that Tim Holmseth is going to be arrested. Again, at the current time, Tim Holmseth is only guilty of a misdemeanor. He was too much of a coward to show up in court to resolve a matter that would have been over a long time ago. Now, because of this latest stunt in the state of Texas and in the state of Tennessee, he may be hit with a felony warrant because he's obstructing justice. He's filing false information with law enforcement. As he knows, all these claims he's making about me and everybody else is false. He's committing perjury. And so there is a possibility that a felony warrant may be issued for his arrest. But if not, I don't see Tim Holmseth being arrested anytime soon because he is not in the state of Minnesota. If he was in the state of Minnesota, there'd be a heck of a bigger chance of Mr. Holmseth being arrested. So, right now, Tim Holmseth is living the life of Riley. He doesn't account to anybody for his actions except himself and his boss, his skirt, the one who's writing the paycheck. And so he can go out and take selfies of himself in front of signs, in front of military entrances, courthouses, and what have you. He can't have comments on his BitChute channel, though. He's too scared of it because He gets trashed. He opens up the comment section over there. They blow him out of the water because they don't like him. And so he closed down his comment section. You cannot make a comment on Timmy's BitChute channel, good or bad. You can donate to him, but that's about it. I don't know about being a badass. I'm just an old retired truck driver with a YouTube channel, and I shoot my mouth off every once in a while. You know, I'm small potatoes. I mean, we've got YouTube channels out there with millions of people on them. And, you know, there's videos out there of barges going down a canal that get more people than I do. It's funny. You go on YouTube and hit the live channels. You can watch trains go by. You can watch ships in a harbor. You can watch people walking through Times Square. Yeah, it was up to 24 there for a while, Rebecca. It hit the all-time high of 22. And I can't remember what the record is. I think I got up over 30 or 40 at one time. And that was because it might have been the Cynthia Absud coverage. I don't know. But, you know, but I average 20 active people in here. Now, what happens is people come back and watch the videos. And so I get a couple hundred views that way sometimes. But I'm not here for numbers. I'm here for the truth. You know, Randy and Timmy can brag about all the numbers they're getting, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're telling the truth. That just means that they're pulling in these high numbers because they are in an area where they are preaching to the choir. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. I am humbled that I have that kind of an impact. You know, it's, you know, we're all equal here. Everybody does their thing. People make videos, people record videos, people make comments. You know, people keep an eye on the grifters out there, the scammers, the crooks. You know, so it's all kinds of people with diverse backgrounds out there putting the word out, trying to keep people from being victimized. And we support each other. That's quite true. And he was getting the same feedback when he had his comments open. People were criticizing him because it was regurgitating the same thing over and over again. Half his videos are praising himself, saying he's this and that and the other thing. It's all about him. And, you know, and he just tries to make himself as important as he possibly can. And it's not working. People know the truth. And they watch him because he's a train wreck. And, you know, and they're all into the sovereign citizen thing, and they're all into making money. Because in the end, that's what this is about. It's all about money. And what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, if I can get this organized well enough, is why these people are together. And it has to do with money. And there is a structure in place that explains it. And at the top of the hill is this one guy. Now, it's not Tim Holmseth. I can assure you that. But once you study these facts as they come out, you'll understand why things happen the way they did. You'll understand why Cynthia Absud is awaiting trial in Colorado and why in a week or so she may lose permanently custody of her children. All of them. Yeah. Because there's going to be a status hearing. And the status hearing has to do with a custody case. It has nothing to do with the trial. It's the custody case to determine whether or not Cynthia Absud's parental custody should be permanently terminated And if that is the case, she may never see her children again until they're adults. The criminal aspect of this is not taking place until January. There's going to be a preliminary hearing a little less than a week before the actual trial, which is scheduled to start on the 10th of January. And barring any changes between now and then, I will be freezing my ass off in front of that same courthouse in Castle Rock, Colorado, covering this thing live. So I got to figure out, I got to get some warm clothes because we don't have warm clothes here in Florida. And it gets pretty damn cold in Denver in January. So this is going to be an experience. But, you know, having somebody asked on Twitter, how many dumb shit ideas can Tim come up with before authorities do something about that medicine? That's a good question, and I honestly don't know the answer. I don't know why they got Timmy on a long leash, because they got him on a leash. They can pull that choke collar anytime they want. I kind of sort of know the reason, the way they explained it, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense because they've got a lot of evidence right now. But they do have a reason why they are letting Timmy run around. And he's basically falling into a trap. Because when the trap is strong, there is going to be a shitload of people that are going to be mad at Tim Holmseth because he's going to bring this whole house of cards down. And all these people that think that they're bulletproof and beyond reach of the authorities are going to find themselves sadly mistaken. That's the way law enforcement works, is they patiently gather what they call a foundation. They just keep building and building and filling the file folders and the file cabinets and the monitoring of the phone calls and all this until the lead agent says, all right, it's time to spring the trap, get the subpoenas, and go arrest their ass. And it's coming. And I can't wait for it either, because I'll be covering their trials. I'll figure out a way to get the money up to go to their trials because it's going to be serious charges. It's probably going to be in the federal court system. But there's going to be a day of reckoning. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Because every day these people are committing the same crimes over and over and over again. And it's like they're not going to run out of the statute of limitations. They just keep building up the case to the feds, getting their list of names in the folders. So when it comes time to spring the trap, they're going to round up the herd and put them in the same pen. They just don't realize it yet. They're living on borrowed time. And they think their great savior is going to be Donald Trump. And that's not going to happen because Donald Trump doesn't care about these people. He doesn't know these people. And he's got more important things on his mind than a bunch of housewives and ranchers babbling away on the internet. Because he could have helped the Bundys out. He could have helped these free rangers out while he was president, and he didn't do a damn thing. So, if they're thinking that Donald Trump is their savior, they're kidding themselves. Because he's just like any other politician. He's not going to help these people out any more than Joe Biden would. And they're going to find that out the hard way. And every day that passes that Donald Trump can't do anything about this stuff, there's going to be one more person that's going to say, hey, we're not getting any help here. We're out here fighting the fight and we're being ignored. Fireman John, welcome. You're going to have to watch the recording so that you can see what I've been babbling about for the past hour. And what I'm thinking of is I'm going to conduct a poll with you guys, you regulars, to determine when I should come on the air. Am I coming on too early by coming on at 9 o'clock? And should I start coming in at start waiting until 10 o'clock to come on the air, because it seems like a number of people are coming in at 10 o'clock. And so what I want to do is adjust my schedule so that, you guys aren't missing content and coming in just as I'm getting ready to sign off. So, I'll have to figure out how to set up a poll to figure that one out. Some of you can contact me over on Twitter, and we'll see where it goes, because I may start, I know Levi starts his show at 10 p.m., so he may have the right idea. But what I am going to do is, for those that are just coming in, I'm going to give a little recap. Now, as I alluded to earlier, Timmy and Randy put up this little thing over on BitChute, and this is the county sheriff was alerted to child trafficking cartel, and this has to do with Mike Long. He contacted the sheriff's department about that, and then on top of everything else, he puts up this little ditty, and it says, alleged child serial killer panics after report made to TBI on the Summers Wells case. Well, it's funny, because if you listen to the portion that I recorded over there, it's not me panicking. It's me telling them to their face that they're liars and they're frauds. And I explained in detail why. And so anyone listening to me in that segment on that channel is going to realize that they are being lied to, that I was not panicked. I was giving a logical dissertation on why what they are doing is wrong and illegal. And I explained also that, or in the portion that you missed, that Michael Long is wanted by the Texas Department of Public Safety. And the reason he is wanted by the Texas Department of Public Safety, it is the state of Texas that is investigating him. It is not the county sheriff. The Texas Department of Public Safety is the lead agency, I should say, of this investigation. The state of Texas is the one that has the arrest warrant for this guy. The state of Texas is the one that wants this guy. And so it is the state of Texas that Timothy should have contacted. And he should have contacted him at this number. And if you folks want to call the missing persons clearinghouse and give them information on Mr. Holmseth and why he is doing these things, you're free to do so. There's 3 different numbers there. They even have an 800 number, even though nobody pays long distance phone charges anymore. But they have all these options for you to get a hold of them. Now, you can also call the Texas Department of Public Safety in Austin, Texas, ask them to speak to the lead investigator in the Long case, and they will direct you to the district where this investigation is taking place, because it may not be in Austin. Austin is the state headquarters for the Texas State Police, and so they may refer you over to the division that is handling the investigation into this child and where she is and what should be done about the father who took her. And so this is all going to be decided when and if this guy ever shows up or is arrested. And as I said in the previous hour, I was given a hint by the sheriff that Tim Holmseth may have walked into a felony by aiding and abetting a fugitive from justice and impeding the investigation. And so, whether Timmy likes it or not, he may find himself with a felony warrant originating out of the state of Texas. And also, the sheriff's department indicated to me that if they see Timothy Holmseth holding up a book in front of the city limits, at the county jail, at the county courthouse, or anywhere in that county, they are going to have a conversation with Timmy and whoever is in that car. Because, they are getting fed up with outsiders getting involved in these cases. The state of Tennessee's not happy about it, and neither is this county, and neither will the Texas Bureau of Investigation, the Texas Department of Public Safety, I should say. That is what's facing here. Now, I spent most of the day between my business that I was doing all day talking to the county sheriff and trying to figure out who to talk to about this. And they finally told me you need to call the Texas Department of Public Safety, since they are the lead agency on the case, and talk to them. And so Monday, after I cover the trial of Field McConnell, I am going to be calling the state of Texas and having a nice conversation with them about what Tim Holmseth is doing. And I'm going to tell them, if you want to fly me out to the state of Texas to talk about this, I'd be more than happy to. I don't hide from law enforcement. If law enforcement wants to talk to me, send me an airplane ticket, send a car, send me to an office, and I'll talk all day long. I flew to Minneapolis and talked to the FBI, so I can fly anywhere in this country and talk to any law enforcement agency that wants to talk to me. And I'll give them an earful about Tim Holmseth and the gang around him. So that's going to be what's going to wind up happening here. Hello, Catherine Grace. Welcome to the chat. It seems to be in the second hour at 10 o'clock is when things start to really move along. So I may start moving my start times, at least for the weekend streams, to 10 o'clock. The reason I start my streams at 9 o'clock is usually I only intend to go about an hour or so, because my schedule generally starts anywhere from 5 to 9 o'clock in the morning, and thus I have to get up fairly early in the morning to conduct my weekly business. So I try to keep my weekday streams at a minimum. But sometimes, that can't be helped, because, the news comes along and I have to get it out there to you folks in this format. But so far, there's no reaction from the grifters. I guess they're probably having beer night or something, or maybe they're doing something else besides being on the internet, because they haven't published a thing on any of their channels yet. This is usually the time of night that you start seeing their conspiracy theories popping up on BitChute. And so far, nothing. We're staying with this weird thing with Collin County. And the owner has disabled comments on this video. I love it. They put up these little surveys here. Oh, of course, yeah, it's an advertisement. Well, that, passed out drunk on a bottle of wine, Why not? Probably cooking sherry or something. They got to. There's no telling what, there's no telling what they're doing out there and that stuck in that car with the junk in the back. Yeah, it's kind of funny. No, Catherine, what is going to happen is Monday on the 13th, Field McConnell will be in court around 9 in the morning, and the state and the defense are going to present the plea deal that they have made on Field's behalf. And of course, Field has to approve it, and Kim Picasio has to approve it. And so Monday morning, we will find out what plea Field McConnell takes. He can take either guilty or nolo contendere, which means I will not contest. And it is exactly the same as a guilty plea, because the judge will automatically adjudicate Field McConnell guilty of the charges agreed to. There will be sentencing, probation if valid, and any conditions that Field McConnell has to meet in order for this plea deal to be accepted by the court and by Kim Picasio. Now, all indications are that it is going to be a nolo contendere plea. He is going to plead no contest. He will be adjudicated guilty. He will be told, under this plea deal, you will probably get time served. So he won't be incarcerated anymore, but he's probably going to be under some kind of probation. And the most important thing is he will have to abide by the restraining order. He cannot violate it or he will go straight to jail. Do not pass go. He has to follow the conditions of the restraining order. He has to leave Kim Picasio alone. He cannot mention Kim Picasio. None of it. That has to stop. And so, like Lori said, what I will be doing is I will be live tweeting directly from the court as the hearing is in process. And Kirk is going to cry because Kirk is wrong. The state of Florida is not going to enter any kind of a plea. They are going to agree to a plea. The case is not going to be dismissed. Field McConnell is going to be adjudicated guilty regardless of his plea. He cannot get around that, because if Field McConnell was not guilty or the judge felt there was insufficient evidence to bring this to trial, this case would have been dismissed months ago, a year ago. It would not have been allowed to reach this point. There is too much evidence for that. The schedule is going to start at 9 o'clock in the morning, Monday, the hearing, I should say. Now, generally what happens is this court session is all about change of plea. That's all this judge does is change of plea. So Field McConnell is not going to be the only case in court. There's probably 10 or 15 cases that the judge is going to hear all day. So Field McConnell may not be first in line. He may very well be. What happened when Denver, or in Castle Rock, when I was covering Neely Blanchard, was that the hearing was supposed to be scheduled for 9 o'clock in the morning. But it didn't start until almost 10 o'clock in the morning because they had other business ahead of her to take care of, other cases. Possibly, because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule my live stream like I always do for, it's going to be 9 o'clock at night again. in for when I get back here to Orlando. And apparently, when I schedule a broadcast, the chat opens up. And so people can chat in the chat. And so they might be able to share it that way. But again, I'm going to be on Twitter. Levi Page may do updates during the day if he's able to. I haven't heard from him, so I don't know for sure what he's going to do. But I told him what I'm doing, and then he is free to use my tweets to update his subscribers on the status as it goes forward. I do have YouTube mobile because now that I'm over 1,000 people, I can stream live. The problem is I cannot stream in court. I can only text. And I don't know how to text directly to YouTube on the phone. Now I may try and work that out. I would have to come in as a viewer and then text in the chat. So that might be one way to do it. Because as long as I don't stream the audio of the hearing, I'll be in good shape. I cannot stream the audio. That's just the way it is. Now, if they record the session in court, I can do a FOIA on it, pay a fee, and get it once it's published. And that would be sometime down the road, which is something that I'm going to check with the court after the hearing. So those of you who have wrenches, because if I start it up on StreamYard, like I'm doing now with the chat open, and just leave it dormant, you guys can chat away. I'll be texting over on Twitter, and you folks that follow me on Twitter can just bring that in here and say, okay, this is what's going on. That's one way of doing it. When I had my Pal Talk account, my administrator would talk to me on the phone, and she would then pass along to the people in chat and on the stream what was going on. Because I did this, there was a memorial service for Kelly Anthony at Blanchard Park, and I was at Blanchard Park attending that, and I played the audio, and the audio went to my chat, and then they would make comments that way. So, that was a way to do it that way. I'm going to have to, one of the things we'll do tomorrow is we'll figure that out, because either tomorrow or Sunday, because I am going to do a murdathon from the hotel tomorrow. And I'm also going to be doing a mobile stream at the courthouse on Sunday. I'm going down a little bit early because I want to go over to the courthouse and kind of get a lay of the land over there, figure out where I'm going to set up my live shot and so forth, so that when I go on the air Monday, I'll have an idea of where I'm going to set up and so forth. And so that's what's going to happen there. I am going to be starting my stream at either 7:30 or 7:45 in the morning to kind of give an update as to what I have learned up to that point. And then at around 8:15, 8:20, I'm going to break the set and go into the courtroom, get into the courthouse, go into the courthouse, I should say, go to the courtroom, figure out where I'm going to sit, and so on and so forth. And I will start tweeting, live tweeting from inside the courtroom. And that's how, that's basically how I'm going to work that. Yeah, it's basically that's where we're at right now. Is we're just going to that's one thing I don't know, Levi, if any of Field's defenders will show up in court or show up to the court. Now, unlike Polk County, Broward County won't put up with any childness. If they start doing the stuff that they did up there, they're going to learn a harsh lesson that you don't want to mess around with Broward County. Now, they'll have protesting zones or any of that. So, if they want to hold up little signs for Field McConnell and show their support, they have the First Amendment right to do so. Whether or not Field McConnell has any supporters in Florida is a good question. It's hard to say. There's there's Kathy could fly down there or get down there. Kirk could always show up. That'd be a trip. And some of these other people, who knows, maybe Preacher Dan will fly all the way out from Alaska. That would be a circus. I'd love to see that. None of them are in jail right now, firemen, as far as anybody knows. And I'll let Levi answer that because it was question was directed to them. And Levi, like I had mentioned before, I am going to be live tweeting from the court. So if you have time tomorrow, Monday, you can take and watch my Twitter account and you can use your channel to update your subscribers as to what the status of the hearing is minute by minute. So it's one of these things I'm sharing. Everybody can use the information, regardless of what side they're on. There's no restrictions. So anybody that has access to my Twitter account is free to use whatever I send over there. Just that I'm not expert enough yet as to how to do this from the court on either YouTube or on StreamYard. So it's the way I'm going to do it. For some reason, there is no way of live streaming directly to Twitter. They no longer have Periscope, so live streaming on Twitter is out of the question right now. I don't know why they did that. It was a bad marketing move on their part, but it's the way it is. So YouTube is our primary live stream, and then Twitter is going to be a way for me to live tweet the proceedings as it happens, because I was granted permission to text from inside the court as long as there is no sound coming from whatever I use to do the texting with, which is more likely going to be either my tablet or my phone. I don't know how strong the Wi-Fi signal is in the court to use the laptop, plus the laptop's a little bit bulky, so I'll probably just stick to using my phone like I've done in the past. I do have a little keypad that I can use with the phone depending on what the setup is in the court. So if it's anything like the one in Orlando or in Orange County here in Orlando, or the one out in Castle Rock, it's doable. So I'll deal with that situation Monday. And I will be back on the air tomorrow at 9 to go into something else I'm going to be discussing. And then I will be doing a road trip on Sunday for part of the drive down to Fort Lauderdale. It's about a 3-4 hour drive, so I don't know as if I'm going to be able to live stream the whole thing. But it's an experiment to do that. And when I do the mobile thon, or the mobile trip, I should call it, I probably won't be able to read the text because the text is incredibly small on my phone. And, I got to concentrate on my driving and all that. So I'll be making commentary as I drive down to Fort Lauderdale. Well, Fireman John, that's a possibility. I'll try that and see how it works out. I do not, sometimes when I'm watching Levi's show, I'm doing so mobile and I comment to the show on my device. So that's a possibility. Again, we're talking about a live stream, and it's like watching TV in court. I don't think they're going to allow that. But again, I'm going to talk to the administrator tomorrow, or God, I keep saying tomorrow, Monday, and see what they say. Yeah, that's true. I could pause the video and all sorts of things. But I'll see, because this is the first time I've done this, and what I want to make sure of is that I want to concentrate on getting a free flow of information out to the audience. And I don't want to screw things up by experimenting and having to run back and forth. Because if I'm busy screwing around trying to get the technical aspects of the text to the streams and I miss something because of that, then I'm doing a disservice to the viewers. So I would probably just stick with texting from the courtroom, minute by minute, event by event, and do it that way. This is going to be a fairly short hearing. It's going to run. You'll be at work. Okay, Levi. I was thinking Randy could run your show. Or not Randy, that would be a trip. Alex could run your show. But then again, I could open up my channel and just leave it idle while I'm in court. Because when you set up and live stream on YouTube and you turn the software off on your phone, on StreamYard, you keep broadcasting. Because for some reason their server stays open. You have to go on their server and shut it down. So that's what I'm going to... Well, Laurie, I'm going to do this one of two ways. I'm either going to set it up as a scheduled event, or I'm going to open the broadcast and then just let it sit. And what we'll wind up with is a marathon. It will be a marathon, because it will probably be about 4 hours long. It will at least be 2 hours, because from the time I would start it up, when I go in the courtroom, and I wouldn't shut it down and have to, I would have to shut it down after the hearing and then restart again. So, this is going to be one of these crash and burn things where we experiment. Because what I'm going to do is when I log off tonight, I'm going to turn right around and I'm going to schedule my stream for tomorrow night at 9. And what you guys can do is play around with the chat to see if I schedule an event and you guys are able to text in the event or in that scheduled event waiting for me to go on the air. What that will do is that will at least allow people who go into the chat to read it, and not be, basically on the air. And so that's one way to do a test to see if this will work. Because normally when I set up a scheduled event and I open up my channel, I notice that people come in here and chat waiting for me, or more often than not, when they're waiting for Levi, they'll be sitting there chatting away, and Levi's not on the air yet. Everybody's waiting for him. And so that's probably going to be the best solution, is for everybody to just, if they see something come out and say, okay, Mert says that Field said this, and just transfer it over into here. And that way it's just smooth sailing. And if I am able to, there's something I may, if there's a break in the session or something where I can have my YouTube, I can sign into my own chat by opening up YouTube mobile and coming in that way, and then I can directly comment that way as well. So and there's workarounds to everything, and so that's probably what we'll do. But we can experiment, because this way, because it's like I said before, when I had my Pal Talk account, that's what used to happen. I had it set up so that the chat was open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week during my coverage of the Kelly Anthony case, which is why a lot of stuff happened that got me in trouble, because somebody hacked into the account, and that's how the fake chat was created. It's because the chat was open and somebody was able to screw around with it. So yeah, that's, because I'll be using my smartphone in court anyway, so I will live stream, because I live stream mobile when I'm down in the court. I don't use a laptop or anything like that. I use my smartphone. And so what I would do is I will live stream. I will leave the live stream open, close it out, come in on YouTube mobile as a guest on my own show, and then I'll try and text that way, because that should be fine. Because we used to do that with Twitter all the time. It's funny, you can do some strange things with Twitter. And a long time ago, this group I was a member of, we had an account. Over 100 people had the login information for the account, and so we would go into the Twitter account and we would talk to each other. It's funny as hell to watch, because you're basically talking to yourself, but we would give ourselves little code numbers and stuff, GS numbers we call them, and it worked, because it's the nature of how Twitter is a packeting site, and that means that you can have 100 people on there, and you can use one account and have 100 people chatting on the same account. And Twitter is yet to solve that. And it's kind of weird. It's a waste, but it can be done. And you have group private chat in Twitter. Now everybody has it. So that's what we'll do. Because that's, I'm a technology freak. I like to screw around and do all kinds of things. When I was in high school, me and a friend of mine down in Long Island, we would talk to each other on teletype machines over the telephone, which was highly illegal at the time. And it's basically 2 Model 19 teletype machines, and eventually he got a 21 because he had all the money. But we would teletype back and forth to each other. So. Well, Timmy's jealous already, because both me and Levi are doing our thing, and so are countless other people, and there's not a damn thing Timmy can do about it. He can make all the threats in the world. He can make all the goofy videos in the world. He can send all the letters he wants to law enforcement, but he's not going to shut anybody down. We will always find a way to get our voices out there. There's always an alternative. And that doesn't matter that I've only got 20, 25 people, 16 people, 10 people. we're all over the place. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're out there. And one of these days, if I ever get off my lazy ass, I'm going to be on TikTok and Instagram and all these other places. I just haven't got around to it yet. I got the accounts there sitting and waiting, but as I get time to do stuff and experiment, then I will be on those channels. Twitch. I've got a Twitch account, but I haven't done anything with that because that's mainly a gaming channel. So that'll be something to deal with down the road. But unusually quiet. It's 8 hours since TF put up anything. And crapshoot. Yeah. Who is it that does that? But I think Dodger Stone did it because somebody persuaded me to go over to Twitch, and I was over there for a while. And yeah, there's a lot of live streaming that goes on over there. But I don't know. I got into the habit of using YouTube, and it's basically been my home base. So, I may expand because the nice thing about StreamYard is I can stream to multiple platforms. I could put up a Twitch stream if I wanted to, and it may be something for me to do. Now, I only set this up on my one channel tonight. I don't think I'm streaming over on the other channel tonight because I just didn't feel like it. The only reason I stream over there is just to give the channel content. But it's, there's 25 people over there, so there's not much going on. But as I come up with different things to talk about, then I might go over to Twitch. The problem is I'm 70 years old and 90% of the people over there are under the age of 30. So I'd be Grandpa Bill running around with the kiddies over there. Kind of feel a little bit out of place. But, I'm always open to new things, so there's no telling what'll happen. So I'll be twitching one of these days. Interesting. Okay, I don't know why. This channel sometimes. $8 hours. That's interesting. They must be traveling because they are not. I thought Rumble was a right QAnon leaning website. I don't know much about Rumble. And there's no option for me to stream to BitChute, even though everybody knows I'm a lefty or accuses me of being a lefty, so they don't pay attention to me. I kind of gave up on that. That would be one can hope, but I doubt it. They do this. It seems to be they take time off on weekends. Generally, this is a Friday, so I'm a little surprised that they're not on. Usually Sunday, they seem to slow down on Sunday. Um, Either that or they're probably producing a video about us that they're going to bring out. They're recording the show. And once I'm off the air, there'll be a video put up, because they're so predictable in that department, because they wait until YouTube publishes the channel and then they go through and start editing. That much I figured out. It's funny, and they use apparently they can't get the audio to work. Their recording today was lousy. Well, if they're coming to Florida, that's an awful brave thing, because I made a point to let Broward County Sheriff know that he or Randy may show up at the hearing, and that there is a warrant out for Timmy in Broward County, and they have a copy of the warrant. So if he shows up Monday morning, they're going to be waiting for him. So unless he's got a real good disguise, and Randy has a real good disguise, he may wind up with 3 squares and a cot here in Orlando, and they may even get her in Fort Lauderdale, and who knows, he might get the accommodations that Field McConnell had. You never know. Oh, that has to be a lot of fun. But yeah, it's, why not? Well, yeah, I don't think they're going to come down here. If they do, they do. I don't care. She might come down on her own and leave him hiding somewhere. It's hard to say. But, it's to her disadvantage for any number of reasons to come here. But if she does, well, that'll be to my benefit, really. So we'll see what happens. Monday could turn out to be an interesting day in ways other than Field's trial. You never know. There's all kinds of interesting things that could go down here. So we'll just have to wait and see. One thing I found out that was interesting is how cheap AR-15s are. On my way to the airport recently, I went by a pawn shop, and they have AR-15s for $500. I didn't realize those guns were that cheap. I thought maybe an AK-47 was like $1,000, but here you can get an AR-15 for $500. And that's getting an AR-15 in Florida is pretty easy. It's background check, wait 3 days, go pick up your gun, buy a little bit of ammunition. Somebody comes to my house with criminal intent, they're going to learn how the stand your ground and castle doctrine works in Florida. So that would be interesting. That's something to consider. I got my little over here, the handy dandy that does the job. But AK-47 might not be a bad idea to pick up one of those puppies. What the hell? We got that Second Amendment. We got to defend it. But I feel kind of stupid to go out there and spend $500 on something I'll never use. So there, I gave them material for their next video. We'll see what they do with that. Okay, the second you start mentioning guns, then they get all riled up. He was listed on the witness list, but now that this is not going to trial, he won't be called as a witness. And that we would have been, there would have been advance notice given on the docket that he was called as a witness, or he would be subpoenaed to come to Florida to testify. But there's nothing. There's nothing on the docket saying that there are going to be any witnesses. The only people that are going to be present is Field McConnell. And since this is a Friday night, I'm checking to see a lot of times any new updates come through on the weekend. Oh, God, they didn't give me any of those stupid. Now, one thing I found out when doing these background checks, it doesn't work on my phone. I do a search and his case doesn't come up. Now, we're still at 13th being the last entry. And we go down here. Broward County Central Courthouse, 201 Southwest 6th Street, Fort Lauderdale. Parties notified: the defendant, Field McConnell, attorney, Son Howard, bonding company, bail bond firm in the state of Florida. And now it is a certainty that Kim Picazia is going to be there. So, we can put her down. And there's no witnesses called. There's no subpoenas out there for witnesses. So Tim Holmseth is not going to be called as a witness in the hearing. And so that he no longer has to worry about being a witness in the McConnell affair. Now, Nellie Blanchard, that's a different story. That's quite correct, John. What they would have done is they would have placed him in custody, allowed him to testify, and then he goes straight off to the clink. So he would not, he would not have left the state. If he got into the state of Florida, it'd be like a hotel, roach hotel. He checked in, but he doesn't check out. He's stuck. Yeah. Okay, we'll close that out. Now what I want to do is I'm going to check. Oh, that would have been a trip. That would have been worth going down just to see that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check Marion County, see if anything's new in the Blanchard case. Get up there. It's funny. These different courts have different ways of searching their databases. And okay, view selection. Amended notice of taking deposition. So this is. Okay, so yesterday, there was a deposition taken from Tiffany Cox at 2:00. And upon oral examination before official report, court reporter, notary, publican, blah, 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 else. I certify. Well, this is a Jack R. Morrow official document. So there was a deposition of a sheriff. Oh, okay. Please take notice that the defendant will take the deposition of the below named person on the date and hour indicated at Owen and Associates Magnolia Suite 501 Ocala. And that was Tiffany Cox. That's notice of taking remote deposition of law enforcement witnesses. So a lot of work was done yesterday. Good night. Thank you for coming in. I am going to be logging off here shortly. Yeah, I usually run them out, or Cheryl runs them out. Skippy's running around. He likes to walk around. Okay, so that's that. So anyway, folks, it is getting to be 10 minutes to 11. I think I'm going to call it a night. I appreciate all of you coming in. Please like, subscribe, hit the share button, hit the notification button, share, let everybody know, because next week we are covering a trial, Bill McConnell. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this out, and then I'm going to turn right around, and I'm going to schedule for tomorrow night. And so the chat should be free for everybody to yammer away on. And we'll see how this works. And then I'll come in every once in a while on my mobile and see how that'll work. That might be a workaround to this situation with Twitter. So I can tweet and do the mobile YouTube at the same time. But that way it's going in both directions. And I think I'll try the deal where I just let from 8 o'clock on, or whenever I'm done in the court, I just shut down the audio and everything, and I just let the camera roll with no audio and video. And that way it's not only streaming, but it's the chat is here and everybody can play with the chat. It's going to drive anybody crazy that comes in to check out the recorded version, but I'll figure something out with that. Anyway, this is William K. Murtaugh, Mark Witness 1. Have a good weekend. Have a good night. See you guys Saturday, 9 p.m. Until then, have a good one.